In our very first story, the minority is calling for a parliamentary probe into Thursday's violence during polls in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. They say the alleged attacks on NDC officials, including Ningo Pram MP Samuel George, was uncalled for. The minority attempted raising the issue on the floor of the House, but the Speaker did not allow it. Joseph Gakpo has more.
On the floor of Parliament today, the minority leader Haruna Idrisu attempted drawing the Speaker's attention to the incident that happened and resulted in the assault on Samuel George, the Ningo Pram MP.
Ours is not just to merely condemn, but to act for the identification and the punishment of those persons, or else we may elect not to have confidence in the security system and their ability to protect us as they are required by the laws of Ghana and the Constitution of Ghana. You saw me attempt to raise the matter on the floor so that we could get the Minister for Interior to summon the IGP and other officers, and that was shut down for reasons of consultation. We'll be back to it.
The Ningo Pram MP says he is disappointed in the Speaker of Parliament. Haruna Idrisu says they will not recognize the outcome of the election.
We therefore are unable to accept even the outcome of the elections as one which was credible and one which was free and fair.
A minority spokesperson on communication, ABF Husseini, raises even a more substantive point, that they won't recognize Lydia Hassan, who has been elected following that particular election yesterday.
It was stolen goods that were exhibited in the market, and there's no basis for any legitimacy to be accorded it.
So are you the minority?
We don't recognize the election, let alone the result. If you don't recognize an election, how do you recognize the result?
Would the minority call for a rerun? Or you just don't?
As far as we are concerned, no election took place at Ayawaso West Wuogon yesterday. What happened there was a charade and was a rape of the democratic process.
But the Member of Parliament for Ablekuma, Eslo Wusu, says the minority has no right to decide who is coming to Parliament on behalf of the people of Ayawaso West Wuogon.
It is not up to the minority to recognize any MP or not. It is the law of this land which imposes that right on any of us. All of us are MPs, not because A or B recognizes us, but because we have gone through an election organized by the Electoral Commission, duly declared winners and victors by the Electoral Commission. That information is transmitted to the Speaker of Parliament. He will swear her in as Member of Parliament, and they cannot do FOCO.
Minority spokesperson on Defense and Interior, James Agalga, is calling for a bipartisan parliamentary probe into the incident that happened.
That is why we need to have a bipartisan investigation into this matter. The Inspector General of Police has questions to answer. The Minister responsible for national security has questions to answer, because the men wore shirts clearly with the inscription NSC, National Security Council. But I am insisting that National Security Council is not supposed to keep a standing force of its own.
But Eslo says they will not get what they are asking for.
Was there a bipartisan investigative committee into Talensi, into Chireponi, into Etiwa, into Akwetia, where a sitting member of Parliament who was a polling agent was driven away from the polling station when he had every right to be there? I narrowly escaped injury in Akwetia. I have been assaulted in Odorodiodio. Did they institute any committee to investigate what happened to me in Odorodiodio? They were justifying that attack on me. How dare they?
Now, Joy News has obtained fresh videos detailing Thursday's shooting outside the home of the NDC parliamentary candidate in the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election, Delali Kwesi Brimpong. In the video, scores of men believed to be NDC supporters are seen fleeing the scene, with some others badly injured being put in the backseat of a pickup. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba visited the area and reports of bullet holes in cars, streets and shops there.
Scores of men believed to be NDC supporters are seen following the uniformed men. That was after they prevented them from getting access to the house of the NDC parliamentary candidate. The first gunshots are heard. Some of the supporters retreat as they try to take cover, but the gunfire continued unabated.
Charlie, right now they point the gun come here.
Even as some of them fled the scene, others will still remain to face the men unarmed. But soon, that false sense of invincibility vanished into thin air, as a few courageous ones will also now begin to hide behind shops, trees, and vehicles. Now it begins to feel like a war zone, as a voice is heard yelling in the background for the men to shoot. When the shooting finally recedes, a man in a white shirt and jeans is seen at the back of a car bleeding from his knee. He alerts the people around him about his injury. Another man is seen with a deep wound in his biceps as he's also put in the vehicle.
That's the broken. I'm done. Who's driving the car? They should take him away. No. Take him to our car. No, they should take him away. He's bleeding out too. He's bleeding out. I'm dying, man. Boss. I'm dying, man. I'm dying, man.
We are just some meters away from the house of the NDC parliamentary candidate, Delali Kwesi Brempong. Well, we've been here for hours trying to understand exactly what happened yesterday. One of the many things that caught our attention is the bullet holes on the trees, on the vehicles, and then on shops here because of what happened yesterday. Well, this vehicle right here, this Kia Morning vehicle, was also hit by a bullet, and you can still see the bullet hole here.
We saw some armed men in black Lacoste wearing the NSC, that's National Security Council. The black Lacoste was tagged NSC, fully armed, marks up, coming towards the NDC's the man's house. Some entered the house, demanding the people there to come out. So out of that, the NDC guys, some guys saw the people, and they're like, these people are not security persons, so what are you doing here? They were able to identify 5 guys. So out of that, they were sacking them to go. Then the guys saw that, no, the people have been able to identify them, so they gave 2 warning shots. And then the NDC guys, since they were not armed, they had to throw stones, just as a means of sacking the guys out. Well, it became worse, and then they started firing in the crowd, not in the air. They fired the crowd. Right in front of me, I saw about 3 people that suffered gunshots.
Well, the police have meanwhile updated the number of casualties in the shooting incident at Bawaleshing. Joy News had on Thursday indicated the number may be more than the 6 put out by the police. And indeed, a statement released on Friday put the number at 13. I'm going to share the statement with you. It says, update shooting incident at Ayawasu, West Wogong constituency. A team of investigators from CID headquarters visited the Legon and 37 military hospitals yesterday and met a total of 13 persons receiving treatment for various injuries, including gunshot wounds. Police took statements from the injured persons except one person who is admitted to the 37 military hospital. Investigations are underway to identify the persons who did the shooting leading to injuries. And it goes on to say that anyone with information on the incident should call, and they have supplied the following numbers: 024 462 3866 or 024 281 4863, or the police emergency toll-free numbers 191 all networks and 18555 MTN and Vodafone. And it says persons with credible information can also send an email to police through hq.pro@ padphotopol@police.gov.gh or padphotopol@gmail.com, and it's signed by Sheila Kessie Beye Bachman, Superintendent of Police, Director of Public Affairs. Now, my colleague Roland Walker earlier visited the Bawaleshi Park area where the violence erupted Thursday during the by-election to interact with residents. Though residents who spoke to him say they are happy to have a new MP, they expressed worry about the violence that marred the process. Here's his report.
MP because well, so he says that it's good that they have a member of parliament, a new one, who is a partner to the late Emmanuel Chamante Ejako to come and continue his good works. But in the meantime, it also means that you want some needs. Again, here more constituency. Here, like boreholes and private toilets, and excuse me, any title area. And street lights, some places beyond my street lights anywhere. And see a street lights. That's a road, maybe I see, and I say, oh my, I'm Roberts or happen. Oh, sometimes I'm always in shadow, but I places maybe assume. Once I assume I want to walk around, Usro. Well, so as a constituent, you would want some water facilities provided, and more so they would want some level of security, especially with the lightning, to create some decent way by which they can have free movement, especially in the evenings. Now you have a new member of parliament elect. What do you make of the elections in itself and a new member of parliament that you have?
Thank you very much, Roland. I think there is one thing I actually saw during the elections yesterday, and it was heartbreaking, especially this Ghana that we've had democracy for so many years, and if such a thing could happen. I mean, yesterday I was thinking like, well, are we in Dr. Congo or we are in Sierra Leone? I was wondering, especially where I have a case like East Legon, also West, which appears to be one of the most elite constituencies in this country. If such a thing can happen, then of course what can happen in the other deprived communities or constituencies. So I think the security agencies should be well equipped, and they should be able to also look through some of these things very carefully, especially going into election 2020, because we don't want to see some of these things in our constituencies come 2020 elections.
Now we want to speak to the chairman of the MPP for the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency, and Jeffrey Edward Osei is here with me. Good morning to you, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Roland.
What will be your own observations about the conduct of the polls yesterday?
From the EC's perspective, I think everything was in order. We started on time, we ended on time. From our party's perspective, everything I think went smoothly, with the exception of the one incident that happened somewhere behind us. I guess we had a very free, fair, and open process.
Say that when I came a couple of days before the election, it looks like the NDC and MPP there was this camaraderie between you two. But following what happened yesterday, it means that you have to reach out more, both parties really.
Yeah, I believe that will still happen. I mean, twins even have their own issues once in a while, and I believe this was just one unfortunate incident that happened. We can move beyond the incident. I mean, I would try and see if I could reach the NDC chairman, and then we'd see how we could fashion out a way that we can live amicably.
Well, going back to the incident that took place yesterday or Thursday at the Bawaleshi Park, the MP who was assaulted, Sam George, has expressed disappointment in the Speaker's refusal to allow the minority leader to make a statement on the matter on the floor of the House. He's also been speaking about how he had to go to visit the hospital before coming to Parliament on Friday.
Well, I'm fine. I had filed questions on behalf of the people who sent me to Parliament, and I had to come in to ask the questions. Unfortunately, I had to go by the hospital before getting here, and so I caught the last part of my question, and I have a job to do. I will do it irrespective of anything.
Okay. Are you taking any action on this beyond what we saw and your indication that you're going to report to the police, although you didn't trust their, neutrality on this matter?
Well, I expected to see the leadership of Parliament, led by Mr. Speaker, take a decisive position. I mean, whether you like me or you don't like me, I'm a sitting member of parliament. And the Speaker's interpretation of Standing Order 72, which was raised by the minority leader in trying to introduce the issue of an assault by men of the Ghana Police Service or National Security Council on a sitting member of parliament, and the Speaker's misinterpretation of Order 72. Order 72 is clear that you can take leave of the Speaker. It doesn't ask you to seek the Speaker's permission prior to the chamber. We've seen several issues raised of national importance raised under Order 72 without prior discussion with the Speaker. But again, this clearly shows you that the actions that were perpetrated yesterday have the approvals of the highest echelons of society. Take it from me, the Speaker of Parliament. I am disappointed in the Speaker because he's leader of the House and he's just showing that he's complicit with the executive in the irresponsible actions that the men of the National Security Council took. But it is fair and square. Let the records, and I'm happy the Hansards will record this. Tomorrow, I say so and hope it doesn't happen. But tomorrow, let the tables turn and let us see an unfortunate incident where an MP from the other side is assaulted. Or even today, let us see assault on any member of Parliament on the majority side. And let us see if the Speaker will have the moral right to want to hear that case. All hell will break loose in this House.
Did you bring this to the attention? It happened outside. It happened outside the chamber. And it's not something that should be dealt with at this level. Maybe the police can deal with it.
I am a sitting member of Parliament. An assault on a sitting member of Parliament, whether in the chamber or outside the chamber. When I'm outside the chamber, I don't lose my status as a member of Parliament, as a sitting member of Parliament. And look, this must not even be made to be about the police service, and the security services have a duty to protect the citizens of this country. Yesterday, if you watched the video, you heard me complaining that you don't go into a citizen's house, a man's house, and kill him. Because before my very eyes, these hoodlums, attired in National Security Council uniform, assaulted a man in his house, took cement blocks and hit his head. And for me, that is unacceptable. So forget the fact that I'm even a member of Parliament. With the shooting that we saw yesterday, it should be condemned in no uncertain language by Parliament.
Did you bring this to the attention of the Speaker?
Former President John Mahama has blamed the governing New Patriotic Party for Thursday's violence during the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election. Mr. Mahama, who is seeking to lead the National Democratic Congress again in the 2020 general election, said the violence that resulted in several supporters of the party being injured is a mark of the governing party's desperation to hold on to power at all costs.
MPP is taking this power as a matter of life and death. They said it already. They said all die, be die. And they are acting out and living the reality of the all die, be die. I'm sure that this evening when you turn on your televisions, you will see what happened at Ayawaso West. And so we are not going to joke in 2020. And I'm sounding a warning to the MPP. We're going to match them boot for boot. We respect the constitution of this country. And NDC is a democratic party. And that's why we abide by the rules of the constitution. But the same constitution says that Ghanaians should resist anybody who attempts to subvert the constitution. And when you go rampaging with forces and intimidating people when they should come out and vote, you are subverting Ghana's constitution, and we have a right to resist you. And so we'll get a full briefing of what happened, but I just want to sound a caution that NDC has revolutionary roots, and that when it comes to unleashing violence, nobody can beat us in unleashing violence. It is just that we midwife this country's democracy. And so we must be the first to respect the country's democracy. And that is why we are acting as a party that is very docile and respecting the rule of law.
Meanwhile, in a statement signed by spokesperson for the former president, James Ejenim Boateng, Mr. Mahama has emphasized the need for investigations to be conducted into the incident. And it reads, former President John Mahama Dramani Mahama has called on the Ghana Police Service to expedite investigations into the circumstances leading to the violence which was perpetrated against members and supporters of the National Democratic Congress in Thursday's by-election in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency in Accra. And it continues. Addressing NDC delegates at Juje in the Ketu North constituency after resuming his campaign in the Volta region on Friday, Mr. Mahama described the attack as an affront on Ghana's constitution. He said the disruption of Thursday's by-election is a product of the MPP's all die, be die. Well, President Kufuor has obliged to the request for thorough investigations in a statement released Friday afternoon. He assured the security agencies will ensure a thorough investigation is carried out. He have explained the governing MPP had no intention of competing with any political party in unleashing violence. I'll bring you what he said in that statement. It says, isolated state incident of violence which occurred in the early stages of the election was unfortunate and regrettable, and I condemn it in no uncertain terms. A by-election should be a peaceful and happy event, no matter how competitive. The police is committed to conducting a rapid inquiry into the matter, and I expect all persons who are found culpable at the end of the process to face the full rigors of the law. It continues, it is important also to state that the New Patriotic Party, the party from which my government was born, would never dream of competing with any other political party in unleashing violence on the Ghanaian people. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice Traj has also condemned acts of violence leading to grievous bodily injuries caused to some members of the electorate during the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency by-election on Thursday. The Commission is therefore calling for stringent measures to ensure that security personnel behave more professionally during subsequent elections and also in the discharge of their general duties. Here are excerpts of the statement signed by Commissioner Joseph Whittal.
Condemns in no uncertain terms acts of violence leading to grievous bodily injuries caused to some members of the electorate during the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency by-election held in Accra yesterday. The Commission received news of this development with great consternation, considering the fact that Ghana has over the period enjoyed peace and stability before, during and after elections, and so is of the view that this situation left unchecked would undermine the nation's hard-earned democracy on the African continent. The Commission believes that the security arrangements for this by-election by the Ghana Police Service were inadequate, and the deployment of heavily armed, masked and hooded security personnel to the La Bawaleshi polling center to harass, intimidate and shoot indiscriminately into the electorate, harming some in the process, as criminal and dastardly acts that should not be allowed to go unpunished. We therefore call on the Inspector General of Police, Mr. David Asante Pietu, and other national security and law enforcement bodies to investigate thoroughly circumstances that led to the shooting incident at the polling center and to punish the perpetrators if found culpable. We strongly advocate that stringent measures are put in place to ensure that security personnel behave more professionally during subsequent elections and also in the discharge of their general duties, so that this inhumane and embarrassing situation does not recur. The Commission wishes to call on the political parties sponsoring vigilante groups who are used as political party thugs to cause mayhem during elections, as happened in this by-election, to put a stop to this outmoded, undemocratic and criminal practice, as it has seriously dented Ghana's democratic and peace-loving credentials. The Commission is deeply concerned about the evolving security situation in recent times in the country, which this by-election only seems to epitomize, and calls on the President of the Republic and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Kufuor, and his security chiefs and advisors to treat it as one of the highest issues of priority of the government.
In another development, the National Peace Council is asking the police to act swiftly to bring to book perpetrators who caused harm during Thursday's Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election. condemning the violence allegedly perpetrated by security operatives. Chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, asked party representatives and leaders to calm tempers and find a solution to the situation rather than playing blame games. He spoke earlier with Daniel Dazi on Joy News today.
From day one, since that thing happened yesterday, from 9 until today, right from dawn until now, condemning the act. So when people say Peace Council is not spoken and all that, Peace Council is not an institution where the people are gathered in one place so that as soon as something happens, they issue a statement. It takes time for us to gather together and agree on a statement. But I have already spoken on this matter. And I have said that what happened yesterday must be condemned. It is not something that anybody should entertain. I have also indicated that the police should act swiftly to bring to book the people who have done that. And the public must have the right to know what is happening in respect of this particular kind of incident. I've also stated clearly that leaders, as leaders of this nation, both sides of the political divide, should try as much as possible to calm tension and not to inflame passion. These are the things that we have said, and it's all over the place.
So would you say...
hasn't said anything, I'm surprised. But we've been talking about this, and we have been warning people, we have been warning political parties, particularly the two main political parties, and
Now, the Electoral Commission also says it cannot be blamed for the shooting at Bawaleshi that nearly marred Thursday's by-election. The Commission believes security personnel detailed to safeguard the process delivered on their mandate. Speaking at a news conference on Friday, Chairperson Jean Mensah said it is improper for any group of persons to link the violence to the by-election. She also described the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers' assessment of the by-elections as narrow. She believes Kodeo's analysis was not objective enough.
Of course, it is true that there was some alleged violence in a residence close to a polling station, close to one of our polling stations. And that's why I mentioned that so long as it is not within our polling station, we don't have authority over it. I don't believe that the Electoral Commission has become the policeman of the constituency. Therefore, anything that happens in any home should be policed and monitored by the Electoral Commission. I think it's important for all Ghanaians to understand that the alleged acts of violence, and we've seen it on video as well, happened in a private residence close to the polling station. It did not happen at the polling station. It did not involve officials of the EC. Neither did it involve the police that we had employed and deployed to that particular polling station. That is why I said that we disassociate ourselves from attempts to link us to that violence. The Commission recognizes the important role of local election observers in ensuring fairness and accountability in the electoral process. The Commission would have expected Kodeo to have given the overall picture of the conduct of the polls, i.e. the credibility of the voters' register. The Commission would have also expected them to provide some information on the voting process of the day, the conduct of the electoral officials, as well as the counting and declaration of results, among others. The Commission has taken note of the contents of Kodeo's report and responds as follows. On the allegation of a shooting incident at the La Bawaleshi area, the Commission rejects the attempts by the report of Kodeo to link the Electoral Commission to the alleged incident at the private residence of the parliamentary candidate of the National Democratic Congress. In this respect, the Commission strongly disassociates itself from the alleged acts of violence that occurred at the La Bawaleshi area.
Well, even as we talk about the tensions and the violence that occurred during the by-election, on Thursday. We're laying off another incident where there was a show of aggression in the studios of our sister station Asempa FM between the National Youth Organizer of the New Patriotic Party and Nana B and Sami Jemfi, who is the Communications Director of the National Democratic Congress. We'll share that video with you because it's actually trending on Facebook right now. Let's share the video.
A deliberate plan by some MPP communicators when they come for programs like this. No more na program never power. Na program na kulusu. They do that all the time. But the person me can on air and say, "Ye mu bi wo ho a, ye wo buo e de ma station we. Ye wo buo e de ma wo a wotia konwa we mu. Ye will blow my producers. Ye will blow my tea for Negana for Mutia, a binim de Enimian Sachen, Yatete and so. Obi Sebi Semi Jare. Not Sebi Sebi previous, but then never found a towel, the Quamica. Meaning a cheetah.
To speak to the issue. Please speak to the issue. Hey.
Waka waka zamina mina sangalewa anawam.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime, but we're bringing you business news next. And coming up in business, Public Utilities Regulatory Commission likely to announce new utility tariffs next week. And then in the second dose of business, Sandra will be back with the news of some aggrieved customers of GN Savings and Loans and Gold Coast venting their spleen on management of the company's failure to pay them their locked up funds. Do stay tuned. We have all that coming up in this bulletin. The United States will soon apply visa sanctions to the wider Ghanaian population if government fails to issue documentation to nationals deported back home. The United States has been negotiating with Ghana on the issue since 2016, but no headway has been made. As a result, members of parliament, members of the executive and diplomats would have some restrictions applied to their visa applications. U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Stephanie Sullivan, says though she is positive Ghana would cooperate with the country on the matter, these sanctions will be extended to the wider population if steps are not taken in the coming months.
For more than 2 years, including as far back as July 2016, the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of State have been working with the Ghana Embassy in Washington and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration here in Accra for Ghana to issue travel documents, such as passports, within 30 days to Ghanaian citizens who are subject to deportation orders. The government of Ghana has consistently not met in a timely way this internationally mandated standard of the UN Convention on International Civil Aviation, to which Ghana is a party. Timely issuance of these passports helps facilitate deportees' departure on commercial flights. When Ghana or another country does not issue the passports in a timely way, the United States government has to employ charter flights for some of these deportations. And in some cases, is required under our law to release those under final order of removal within the United States. Effective Monday, February 4th, we will pause issuance of all new visas for domestic employees of Ghanaian diplomats posted in the United States. In addition, we are limiting the normal 5-year validity for tourist and business visas for all Ghanaian executive and legislative branch employees, their spouses, and children under age 21 to single entry visas valid for just 1 month. Also, Ghanaians who hold diplomatic and official passports face these same restrictions for tourist and business visas, even if they are not government employees. We hope to work closely together with Ghanaian authorities to resolve this issue promptly. The U.S. government will lift these limitations when the Ghanaian consulates in the United States issue the required passports and demonstrate they can consistently provide timely issuance of these travel documents for these citizens going forward.
Well, the Foreign Affairs Committee in Parliament has summoned the Foreign Affairs Minister, Shirley Ayoko Botwe, over the issue. Dr. Clement Tapak tells Joy News Parliament is taking the matter seriously.
If viewers will remember, and you and I have had the chance to talk about this severally, when the Americans indicated that they were going to deport some Ghanaians, we had the opportunity to try and take the issue seriously, to try and find an amicable solution. But obviously, in the view of the Americans, Ghana has not done much in terms of dealing with the situation, and therefore that has warranted the current directive of putting restrictions on Ghanaian visa applicants who may be seeking that document to go to the U.S. But be as it may, the committee has taken judicious notice of this, and communication has gone to the minister, inviting her to come to the committee for a meeting to brief us on what is going on so we can look at the best way forward.
So what you've written officially to the minister in connection with this, or what exactly has happened?
Yes, I've conferred with the leadership of the committee on both sides, the Honorable Anodompre and the Honorable Kujatu Ablakwa, and of course they have asked me to communicate this to members of the public. That this is a matter that the committee takes very seriously, and on the basis of that, the early part of next week, the committee would have a meeting with the minister, and we will let the public know the course of action. But we expect that government would be up and doing for us to see how we can resolve this matter. In my own personal opinion is that we didn't have to wait this long.